Welcome back. Here with us on Urban Debate on Mirror Now. Some students in a college in Karnataka's Koppar district came wearing saffron scarves. You must be wondering, so what? What's wrong in it? Well, this was not done as a choice or some kind of a dressing trend, but they did it as a protest against the college administration allowing Muslim women to wear hijab inside the classroom. Now, this, viewers, happened in a government-run college in Karnataka. These students say that if hijab can be worn inside the classrooms, then saffron scarves should be allowed as well. These students aren't politically unaffiliated. Sources say they are affiliated to the ABVP. They had earlier demanded that women who wear hijab should not be allowed to attend classes. The reason why they chose how to dress to attend classes raises many questions. Can politics of catching them young decline to such levels? Is the color of faith going to divide those who are called minors? Are schools going to become now the learning ground for divisive agendas and intolerance? That's our big debate this evening on Mirror Now. And joining us on the broadcast is Karuna Gopal, BJP leader, National In Charge Policy and Research, BJP Women Wing. We have Brinda Adige, women rights activist, joining us. Professor Chambi Puranik, retired HOD, Political Science, Karnataka State Open University. We are also joined by Professor Zeenat Shaukat Ali, founder, Director General, Wisdom Foundation. Professor Zeenat Shaukat Ali, let me begin this discussion with you. How will you like to react to the story that has come from Karnataka? Are schools now going to become learning ground for divisive agendas and intolerance?
I think I am very, very disturbed and extremely disappointed by hearing this kind of news, because this is the instigation of hatred and lines of divisiveness which are particularly abhorrent. And now that we are in COVID and we are undergoing such a crisis, the world is undergoing and our country is undergoing multiplication of cases, we stand here on non-issues to create barriers and to create divisions. I think it is very unacceptable and totally abhorrent. This is the time, you see, we in India, our composite culture has been the envy of countries across the world. We have always had a composite culture. And here we stand that you shall not wear this and I shall not do this. I think this is absolutely disgusting. And our unity should have a common purpose. The purpose of education is to get together, to enhance our minds, to elevate our minds. Education itself means, understanding, getting into the deeper understanding of yourself and learning. But here, instead of having a common purpose, a common goal, a common sorrows and common joys that we Indians must enjoy, that student communities must enjoy, we have this kind of divisive policy that we are looking at. I mean, I'm sorry, it's not a policy, but a divisive kind. And I think that a lot of it is coming through administration and through governments also. Because all the time I am reading of a Hindu-Muslim divide, that this is what Muslims are, this is what Hindus are. I'm getting these kind of clips all the time, and I have stopped looking at my WhatsApp messages only for this reason. So I think that this entire debate and this entire kind of bad feeling, which is instigating hatred, has to go at once. It must be about, and for the Muslims, I want you to know that you were given the option to cover yourself and to wear the dupatta and to come. And, even in Saudi Arabia, the imam, the very, 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 important imam, has said that it is not necessary to wear an abaya. His name is Sheikh Abdullah Al-Mutlaq. He has said that it is not a compulsion for you to wear an abaya. They call it an abaya, we call it a hijab here as a technical term. But it does not necessitate. And he said 90% of the world's pious Muslim women do not wear abayas. That doesn't mean that they're not Muslim women or they're not pious. So one has to go with the times, flow with the times. Yes, when you are asked to wear. And on the other hand, and the assertion of your identity. I think this is the whole point that you're asserting your identity in a very negative and and putting yourself in a very bad light. Whether it is saffron or whether it is whether it is the hijab. And recently we have seen that the minorities are undergoing a lot of backlashing. There are a lot of things, a lot of hatred that is coming out.
But my question is that, Karuna, okay, Professor Zeenat Shaukat Ali, I got your point. But Karuna, the question then is that if there are certain women students who want to wear a hijab, I mean, if they want to, and if the administration has no problem with it because there's no dress code as such, then why should anybody have a problem? What is this competition that if the women students there in the college are coming wearing hijab, the other students will come wearing saffron scarves? I mean, it's hijab versus a saffron scarf now in our state, in our country?
Okay. Hina, I think this debate needs a lot of maturity, lot of equanimity to even step into taking any kind of sides. First, let's understand the group. The group is young adult group. And typically young adults are finding themselves, finding their identity. They are hot-blooded. They want to prove their individuality. And that is exactly the time they start choosing gangs, they start choosing their groups, their cult, and their identity. This is very, very, very common, not only in India, in every part of the world. So if a group of people overtly display their, let's say, their sect or their cult or their religion by wearing a certain clothing, then the other group would like to also prove that they belong to another group. So I don't find anything greatly
But Karuna Gopal, then you tell me, please answer my question. Karuna Gopal, which Veda or religious scripture in Hinduism says that saffron scarves actually are a must for practitioners of the religion?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Why are you attributing saffron to Hinduism? That is a group that wants to prove they are different.
I am not, because it was not worn. That is the point that I'm trying to understand. Why these students came. One second, hear me out. Karuna, these students came to the college wearing these saffron scarves, not because they wanted to. Like I mentioned in my intro as well, not because it was some kind of a fashion that they were exhibiting. It was because they were protesting against the women who were coming to the classroom wearing a hijab. Isn't this some kind of a competition? How else are we supposed to then interpret this? You tell me.
Hina, please listen to what I had to say. You didn't allow me to complete. Supposing you were to encounter that, would you do that? At your age, you won't do that. At my age, I won't do that. I went to a Christian missionary school and I wasn't allowed to step in unless I removed my bindi. I was young. I did it without any hesitation. Today, I find a senior professor from IIT Bombay. He comes, he's 50 years old perhaps. He wears a dhoti. He wears tilak. Nobody objects to that. That is the age. So I'm basically telling you, we are dealing with a bunch of adolescents, hot-blooded, wanting to prove their identity, wanting to get into their own sects, their own cults. So you don't have to suddenly have everybody talk about it and say this is Hindutva, this is a Muslim. It is not that. We are
Brinda Adige, I want to understand from you, which identity were they actually trying to portray by wearing saffron scarves? Could you just help me explain that, because I am not able to understand.
No, because you don't have to really understand them, is what I'm saying. I would put entire blame. I would put the blame on the management. Look at most of the management. No, you just see it's simple. Why are we digging it? And
the management is responsible. I agree with you. I completely agree with you on that point.
They can bring in
let Brinda Adige now respond.
No, I will just say one more thing before you go to somebody else. In the US, I have seen wars between groups of students, between different ethnicities, and all of them were being controlled very brilliantly, very subtly, very nicely by the management that came out with a certain kind of a dress code, certain kind of behavioral norms. So here our managements look as if they are helpless.
Okay.
Or they beat up. Now, have you asked this question when a Christian school in Telangana?
Okay, you've made many points, Karuna. You've made many points on the show. Let Brinda Adike now respond. What identity, Brinda? Straight question. Were they trying to portray by wearing saffron scarves? Because they were clearly protesting against women students who came to the class wearing hijab.
First and foremost, we need to understand that women always bear the brunt of all of these patriarchal, norms and cultures that try to subdue them and tell them how they need to cover themselves and be and whatever. India has always been known as a culture, as a country that not only respects diversity, but is continuing to hold on to unity in diversity. Now, what is the identity this group wants to portray? Only that group can say.
Yeah.
Why are they so insecure about the present identity that they had till day before yesterday? That is another question they have to answer. But why are they protesting the freedom of choice of a group of girls who think that they feel secure, they feel respected, they feel whatever by wearing a hijab? Does wearing that hijab hinder the other person from looking at the board or the smart board or anything like that? If it does so, then yes, they must not wear the hijab. But if it is a matter that they are upset that they are wearing it because it is a religious tenet they believe in, for right or wrong is secondary, they believe in, this just goes to show intimidation, intolerance and bigotry. No identity. Sorry. If you ask me personally, I can't think of an identity that is being portrayed. What is being shown is, mind it. This is our intolerance. This is the bigotry that we will show. This is the hate. Because all this was not there last week. It has come back today. And we want to show it.
And we clearly don't need in our classrooms now.
Exactly.
We clearly do not need it in our classrooms, and that's the reason we are discussing this issue today. I know Karuna wants to respond, but before that, let me go across to Professor Chambi Puranik as well. He's been waiting patiently, listening to all of you and all of us actually. Sir, simple question now. Are schools going to become learning ground for divisive agendas and intolerance? Is that what we want our educational institutions to become?
School or college, wherever you are going for pursuit of knowledge, pursuit of truth, pursuit of reason, pursuit of tolerance, the values that the Constitution in a plural society like India has permitted, that is there. But, sometimes, these competing tendencies of religious identities, they do cause friction, especially in a sensitive area like school, the environment. I think the students are still, very young and impressionable age also. So there, I think first and foremost, this particular controversy in this college, I hold the management as responsible for this. They should have allowed everybody to come with whatever dress or apparel that they want to come and all that. So therefore, these things should be nipped in the bud. You can't generalize saying that the entire country is having this kind of bigotry or the kind of intolerance and all that. By and large, all students, for example, in Bangalore, when we go to Mount Carmel College, as a professor I have visited, there, till the entrance of the gate, the girls wear burqa and all that. Once they enter the premises, in the classroom, they are all treated as equal. And as a professor and teacher, I would treat everybody as equal. These diversions and competing tendencies, they are in the recent, years, or let me say in a couple of years, I think things have been blown out of proportion also. So the parent-teacher meeting is the final place where the teachers and the management should convince the authority, the parents, that all of us should have the kind of uniform kind of code of conduct or dress and all. You can't allow girls to come in mini skirts If that happens, and what these boys have done, they have just taken cudgels against this kind of whatever order the principal has given, and they have let loose, the anarchy. So that should not be there. First and foremost, in a place like learning, in colleges or institutions, the student should have an open mind to seek the knowledge or information or truth. And that kind of pursuit of excellence should not be diverted with such frivolous things that been or blown out of proportion also. I would say this should be nipped in the bud.
Okay, Brinda wants to respond. Then Karuna.
Like I mentioned, women will always have to bear the brunt of patriarchy, misogyny, chauvinism, and sexism. Women should be dressed like this. Women should be dressed like that. And why can't girls wear miniskirts? If that is part of the uniform and they feel comfortable wearing miniskirts, so be it. It is a knowledge, it is enlightenment, it is acceptance, it is respect. It cannot, respect and dignity must not be something that is because of my clothing or because of not of the attire that I wear based on your sense of right and wrong.
Okay.
That itself is a problem.
Karuna, coming back to the main point here, it's about freedom of choice. If certain girls want to wear a hijab because of their faith, why, should anybody have a problem with that? I'm not talking about a dress code here. That's a different matter altogether. But why should the color of faith divide those who are called minors? I mean, they are in a college, educational institutions. Is that what we want?
You're asking me? Can I answer?
Yes, Karuna.
So here, we are 4 people with 4 different views. We are 1 billion people in the country, and all of us will have 1 billion views. And you're talking about an utopian situation where tolerance restricted only to one group of people? There is an overt display of religion in one sect. The others can also have the freedom to come in their own attires. Why do you want to look at it as a big protest? Maybe the protest will die down. We'll keep it aflame. We'll keep it kindled by our own discussions.
But it was a protest, Karuna. It was a protest against Muslim girls. It was a protest against Muslim girls. We are not calling it a protest. It actually was a protest against Muslim girls. And that is the reason, last time, that is a fact. That is a fact. It is the fact that I'm telling you, and that is the reason last time I asked you this question. Which Veda or religious scripture in Hinduism says that saffron scarves are a must for practitioners of the religion? Isn't this then social competitiveness? Is that what we want our students, the children who study in college to discuss and study?
Don't go into Vedas and Upanishads, because none of us.
Why shouldn't I go into Vedas?
None of us can claim any kind of expertise on that, either you nor me. Okay, there are certain ways that we want to display or demonstrate to the world. We adhere to certain faith. It is up to them. It is up to them. They will protest for a while and they will leave it. And hijab is overtly religious, and these people are wanting to overtly display their religion. Let it be. Why are we creating such a scene? I'd like to really
Professor Zeerat Shaukat Ali, will you like to respond? Will you like to respond? Because I really don't know what to say. I mean, now the color of faith is going to divide the people, who we call as minors. These are college-going students. Is that what we want in our educational institutions?
It will die down, for heaven's sake.
Absolutely not. I cannot.
Karuna, let Professor Zeerat Shaukat Ali respond.
See, this is exactly my perspective point of view is completely the opposite. You see, we have to have the liberalism of understanding each other. We have to make a common cause and dress. You see, today what is happening is that this is an excuse. I find that even in the hearts of minors, the division starts coming from there. That if she wears this, and this is the way I'm going to assert myself by doing something quite different. So I think that is a very unhealthy seed. And I personally find that I'm looking at it across the country and, starting and coming down into the institutions I think is a very unhealthy happening, because we in India, we stand for a common cause. We have a common constitution. And if we want to create lines of divide only on your color is saffron and my color is, this is my kind of dress code is hijab, I think that is extremely unhealthy. And the second point I want to make, yes, there is a freedom. We have the freedom to dress as we choose, undoubtedly. But at the same time, you see this identity crisis which is created by a religious leadership. And it happens both ways. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen with the Muslim leadership. It does. And I don't say it doesn't happen with the Hindu leadership. It does. They have to make people understand that this is not the way that Hinduism is teaching you. It is a broad-based, beautiful religion. Let us practice it that way. Let us open our hearts out to others. And at the same time, the Muslim clergy must also explain to the girls that, this kind of this compulsion that is in your mind that I quoted to you, that no less a person than, the sheikh, a very well-known sheikh, the grand sheikh of Saudi Arabia has given you the statement, and Prince Mohammed bin Salman has said that we cannot enforce this kind of a dress because women, yes, modesty is one thing. Modesty is one thing, and assertion of your identity is another. Over here, I think it is more an assertion of your identity, and that is what makes it divisive. At the same time, there is freedom. You should wear what you want to wear and how you want to wear. But the whole point is that this mindset that we are creating, that, if a woman wears a hijab, means X, Y, and Z. And if a woman wears a saffron, it's X, Y, and Z. These have to leave us. And therefore, we have to find a common solution. Yes, the management has to take control of this. And we have to sit down together, break our heads to see how this kind of division and divisiveness does not enter into the heart of youngsters. To me, that is the problem. It is not simply wearing a hijab or wearing the saffron.
Okay.
That is the problem. It is the division that comes in.
It's the competition, actually, the competition that we saw, the protest that happened because of, the girls wearing hijab in college. That is something that is problematic and something that we are discussing. Karuna, you wanted to say something?
No, I just said it brings me back to the same point I made. Because they are young, they're adolescents, and they're hot-blooded, and they are trying to prove their identity, they are behaving like that. Today, if any one of us, if I am coming in a Hindu clothing and my Muslim colleague comes in her hijab, none of us is going to react because, we are well past that age. Just the way I gave the example of a Christian school that I attended, we never bothered. We just pulled out our, that is the age. So let them, my guess is, if you give them a little bit of time, they'll overcome. Plus, the management can think of positive activities like teamwork. There are hundreds of things that they can do for bonding between students. Healthy competition can be brought in. The managements are helpless. They look like they have no role. They have to be innovative. They have to be smart. We have done so much communal peace.
You're right. Of course, management has got a big responsibility. I want to give last 10 seconds to Brinda Adige. Yes, management clearly has a big responsibility in a situation like this. Brinda, yes.
I agree with Shaukat. And I disagree with the panelist who just now spoke. If they want to talk about their identity and wear saffron scarves, they could just go into their classrooms and say, okay, this is my identity. I'm wearing saffron today, purple tomorrow, I don't know. But why are you sitting there and protesting that somebody else is wearing a hijab? So I will wear this and I will now sit here and protest. That is the problem. The problem is not you wanting to have your identity. Please go ahead and have it. But why don't you go into your classrooms and sit with your lessons? You wear purple, somebody wears orange, somebody wears saffron. Wear it and go. Look at that group. You can see the video there. They are sitting in protest. Against what? Freedom of choice? That is the entire problem. The problem is that you, a group of people, choose to sit there and protest and say, if you continue to wear hijab, which is your choice for whatever reason, we will not go into the classrooms, we will not have classes over there, and then, we will see to it. Management is responsible, yes, but who instigated this identity crisis is the big question, because students are our today and our tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And we expect them to be in peace and harmony.
All right. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining us on this debate on Mirror Now. And, you know, rock band Pink, Floyd, through their song Another Brick in the Wall, has enthralled music lovers across generations, something that I am reminded of this evening. We take cue from that song. Students should be singing. We don't need no thought control, no dark division in the classroom. Politicians, leave us kids alone instead of indulging in competition of this kind. I appreciate all of you for joining us on Urban Debate this evening. Heading into a short break. On the other side, we'll tell you what's happening as far as the COVID situation in the country is concerned. Stay with us.